Hi, it's been a minute. Uh, I felt called and clear enough to do a card pull in honor of the eclipse window that we're in and the upcoming new moon on October 2nd. So we already had the full moon. And I thought I would start with an oracle card from Matt Hughes Dreamscape Oracle and talk a little bit about the astrology around the new moon and then pull some cards from the White Sage Tarot to get a little bit more specific about the day of the eclipse, the next 6 months of the eclipse, and I'll be a little bit more specific with those pulls instead of a freestyle like I used to do. So that's how it's gonna go, and I've already said my prayer and set my intentions that this be in the highest good of any and all that hear this. Whenever you hear this, that there be a message for you contained within it. And right off to start, with the oracle cards, they're pretty potent imagery. We have the raven and the death mother, and they are really quite potent and almost shocking together. So I tend to shuffle cards and start with an oracle card as like a nice visual while I'm talking, like while I'm doing the opening and talking a little bit about the astrology. And I do this as I'm setting up and saying the prayer. And I was shuffling and shuffling and shuffling, and then a card fell out of the deck and hit the floor. And I like went to look for it. I thought it was under my seat, didn't see it. And then there were two cards together, face down. So I didn't know what they were. And then when I flipped them over, I was like, whoa. Pretty strong imagery right off the bat. And they strangely matched what I had laid out to set up. So this purple wrap on this lavender and sage bundle, the black tourmaline and the quartz crystal. So we'll start here, even though it's like the images alone speak quite strongly. And don't let it scare you away. I know death is a little bit taboo in our culture, and even ravens have a bad. People are kind of afraid of them for that reason, I think. And this does look a little bit more like this would have been an ideal pull for a Halloween, like the full moon around Halloween. But that would just be a surface level visual. So, got to work with what's given. I'll do my best. Let whatever images surface or intuitions come to you as I'm reading. Take what you like, leave the rest. Always. And I'll try to not spend too much time on this, although it seems worth unpacking. And if you hear my dog snoring in the background, she wants you to know she's here guiding and protecting the space. It's really loud. Oh, anyways. Okay, so where to start with this? I mentioned the eclipses come at the equinox. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, that's going to be the start of fall. So big seasonal shift. And then, when we say the eclipse sets the stage for the next 6 months, that'll be when we fall on the next point of the ecliptic in the spring, vice versa if you're in the southern hemisphere. And it's the idea of equal day and equal night. We just had the equinox on the 22nd, about a week ago, a little less than a week ago. So happy fall, and all that comes with that, the change of the season. But what makes the eclipses so potent as it relates to how do I say this? Eclipses, there's like it's known as the dragon's tail, or the south node of the moon, or K2 in Vedic astrology, is what's happening for this new moon. So that's going to be more of the known, more of the past, more karmic, or what our ancestors have been through, archetypal energy around the celestial energy. Having said that, I feel that fits, that's really important, as it ties in with the raven and the death mother. Because when you look at these cards, there's just this feeling of like something needs to be let go of and released. So when I look at the death mother card, there's a sense of surrender, but it's not a surrender in the type of like, I put my hands up, I trust, I let go. It's more of this like inner surrender of what needs to be released. And then she's holding this golden thread, but there's this like life force thread connecting back to death. So like stalking behind her as she looks up at her inner vision, her third eye, which is also a crescent moon. So that's some really potent imagery as a message coming through as it pertains to the new moon. So I'll get to that in a second. But it's like there's this going inward, this true sense of like feminine yin, dark. That's also the new moon, this turning inward, looking inward, but holding this golden thread that's connected back to death. But the death is like, has glowing eyes, like the eyes of awareness are watching. So there's this going inward with total awareness and holding this golden thread. And to me, the golden thread feels like the life force of just a heavy theme of death and rebirth there, which, you know, it's kind of the canned thing to say around eclipses of, you know, the cycles and, you know, let go, it's fall, like the leaves are letting go, and you know, all of life is this continual letting go. But for now, that feels like a significant theme as it relates to what's needed for this new beginning, and then also with the I mean, the death mother is just potent symbolism. So whatever that's bringing up in you, I would pay attention to. But there's this, something needs to be departed. And accessing a deeper silence. And my sense is you already sort of know what this is, but there's this real sense of like, there's like a real turning of the page, a real sense of the next journey. So, you know, death in the physical realm is something no longer has its life force, but in the dream world, it's transformation. In the, you know, even with the elements, something like ice transforming to liquid transforming to steam. The original element is still there, it's changing form. So there's this just just a heavy sense of change. So what needs laid to rest and what needs changed. And then that raven is there. So ravens are known for being psychopomps and guiding deceased to their resting place. Like for as long as civilization can recall, they've been heralds of the dying. So it's almost there being like ready to serve and assist. And I think that's so fascinating that these two cards came out together. So this, what needs to die and what needs let go of, what needs to be taken to its resting place. And then also I don't know, I hesitate to speak too much about the mother, but like whatever is in you that isn't motherly in the sense that it's nurturing your soul or your life force, like that really needs, God, this is its own reading all on its own. Holy, you know, I like pull these cards so that there's just like a pretty imagery while I start talking, and then it has a life of its own. So this wanted to come through. So, you know, in this deck, the author talks more about this card as death and the death mother working together to just send the spirits on to their next stage of their journey. And the raven's here to do that too. And then the message is if you're feeling tied down to something that no longer serves you, free yourself. So I said that right at the 12:12 mark. We can leave it at that and not get too much deeper into this other than whatever is no longer serving you, free yourself. And so I don't really like the word like what's serving you, like you know, like you're some royal princess that gets served and you're like, oh, you're not serving me, go away. Like that's not my favorite terminology. I know it gets tossed around quite a bit, but like what isn't bringing out your best? What is an old pattern that's just ready to break down? Where are things that you are aware that you know just aren't doing anything for you? It's working against you. And then just with the doggy's having some really intense dreams. Ooh, she's like processing something there. And then just on the note of the raven, I've actually been feeding some crows recently, and they're so smart. I started feeding some crows at this one spot, and then these two started following me around every morning and would like show up expecting it. And I named them Jack and Jill. So they there's a message here of trusting the deeper intelligence of what's at work, trusting when something is ready to depart, and then it's that it doesn't have to be. I mean, grief is its own process, but if you can send something on its way with love, that's the best, most ideal way to part with something. So the raven, I'm getting sidetracked here. What I'm trying to say, and here we'll just jump to the book, the guidebook, because the guidebook says, if the raven has come to you today, it's time to get crafty and use your intelligence to make a vital shift happen. Honor those who live in memory and set up an altar and pay respects to the dead. Honor your ancestors. So there's also this element of honoring those you've lost, honoring what's come before you, paying respect to that, right? So it's not just like, oh, it's old news, see you later, you're not serving me, I'm on to bigger and better things. It's like this deep reverence for like what's known, what's gotten you to where you've gotten, and then where do you need to pivot? Where does there need to be a vital shift? So I feel like the words vital shift are really jumping out. And if you take nothing else from this, take that, and then also that being set free. So what is the vital shift you need to set yourself free? Ooh, you can like just let that soak in, meditate on that. I'm going to start shuffling the white tarot deck. And then what I wanted to say around the new moon when I looked at the astrology that day is that it's moon, south node in the sun. If you're doing Western, it's going to be in Libra. Vedic, it's Virgo. And without getting into too much of the signs, what popped through was this, just having this awareness of what the old patterns are that need shifting. And there is a square to Mars in Cancer. And at first that sort of rubbed me the wrong way of like, ooh, there could be some tensions or some just challenges with the past and with like maybe fight or flight or feeling emotional. Just, I don't know, all these kind of just like surface level astrology symbols came to mind. But when I spent a little bit more time with it, what really came through and is actually really supportive of these two cards, and it was before I pulled these two cards, was this sense of on the new moon on October 2nd, or whenever you can create the time or space or feel called to do the self-care, there really feels like, how do you nurture the new? Like, how do you nurture the new beginnings? And with that, I feel this deeper sense of just being aware of the pattern. So it's not like, you know, when we're working with deep patterns, it's not like you can just snap our fingers and it change overnight. When we're working with people we have a history with or there's conflict with, you know, you can't always alter it right away. If you're working with health issues, if there's imbalance, like it's not necessarily just like a one and done kind of thing, but the being aware of it, observing it, knowing where there's the imbalance, knowing what the pattern is, knowing like where the judgments or the fears are, knowing what the issue is, and being able to sit with that and be willing to, and just being willing to work with it, not even necessarily change it, just being willing to see what is needed to shift is what came through for the new moon. And then what's it going to take for that vital shift to set you free, and what can you do to nurture the new beginning? So that really came through for the new moon. I believe that's Wednesday the 2nd, you know, and there's a window around it, all of it. And so yeah, some heavy letting go, but sometimes letting go can feel so good. Like we forget to just let go, just let go. So the nurturing the new beginning is like so the opposite of the death mother. So it's like where is what wants to take your life force from you? What's keeping you stagnant? What's keeping you in limiting beliefs about yourself, others, what you're capable of? Like what needs to die there? And whatever it is in your soul that you know really is wanting to come through, like how can you nurture that? Like how can you be aware of that? How can you start working with that, journaling about it, dreaming about it? Just like, I know I have a vision, and so I want to spend that day nurturing that vision and getting real about it and clear. I feel like clarity has been a big, having a little conversation with the cards behind the scenes here. I'm not ready to do card pulls yet. They're just like, I love it when they make themselves known. So we've got much more cheerful Page of Cups and Knight of Pentacles while I'm talking. So some young, fresh energy wanting to come through. Water and earth. It's just supportive of what I was saying, kind of bringing a little bit more levity to these cards. You know, some rootedness in the earth, and some bright, joyful, like turmeric tea, it looks like. So with that, I guess I'm done talking astrology. We'll pull some cards here. Those ones just came out while I was just ranting, so they're significant. I'll keep this short. Won't go on forever. It's already kind of gotten a little wordy. But just the only other thing with the new moon is that Venus and Mercury are together in Scorpio, so that's some potent, you can go pretty deep with what matters to you, what you value, and like listen for any messages too. So Venus rules Libra, which rules the new moon. So this element of getting quiet, listening, and you know, if there's difficult past stuff coming up, it's just being willing to look at it and learn from it. Because it's not like the past is bad and the future is good. It's more like those are the doors we know. And so as it pertains to moving forward, what is there to be learned from? So I don't know, I just look at Venus and Mercury. Mercury, the messenger, can travel between all the realms. And Scorpio's the deep waters. And so Venus traveling through Scorpio, really kind of getting that, not even clarity of vision, more of that, how does Jeff Green say, the X-ray vision of like, what do you really care about? Like, what do you really care about? And my dog just went from having bad nightmares from the other cards to she just rolled on her back and feels safe now. So I would just, encourage you to take some time for the new moon to just get quiet, listen, nurture not only whatever is in your soul that wants to emerge, but just it's been a wild year. Like, I haven't done these readings because I have been I don't want to transmit the energy I've been stifling through, I don't know. Anyways, I felt really called. I like to follow the inspiration. So I know the algorithm, that's not consistent enough for the algorithm or even Saturn, just to kind of be playful, but my path is not everyone else's path, so just running with it. And okay, so I thought for the cards, we'll do day of. First card I pull will be day of, then we'll do the 6 months, and then we'll do a what to know, do, feel, in the closing card. Okay, so first day of, October 2nd, new moon, south node. What do we need to know that day? I'm just closing my eyes and breathing. I like to wait until a card makes itself known. Okay, 2 are coming out together here. We have Temperance reversed and the Empress card. So again, Empress, look, she's wearing a little Venus, like a diamond necklace. What do you value? And nurture. She's the queen of the earth itself. Nurturing, value, energy. So really important. Temperance reversed. Remember how I said there's going to be that square to Mars? Mars in Cancer, I feel like that's a part of that. I'm going to look at the guidebook for this one. I really, really like this deck. I love this deck. It was gifted to me by someone very special. And So slight imbalance. Keep a careful eye on imbalances as they come up. One way to find balance is to notice the imbalances, then make adjustments. So that's perfect, especially if you think that, how I said this new moon in Western is Libra, that's balance. Vedic, it's going to be Virgo. That's the how do you make adjustments. You have the crisis and you make the adjustments. So theme of nurturing what you value, and whatever is slightly imbalanced, being aware of it, which mirrors exactly everything I was just rambling about and speaking to. Okay, so now what's the card for the 6 months? I know we pulled the Oracle card with the Raven and the Death Mother that are ready to put something to rest. In the sake of true transformation, with an honoring of what's come before. So what does the White Sage have to say about it? All right, Two of Wands reversed. This deck's neat too because it also has these colors as it relates to the chakras. So that's going to be the heart chakra. And so for the next 6 months, it's this card speaks to hesitation and fear of the unknown. So that can be speaking to this lack of confidence. So whatever this vision is that you're nurturing, I feel like this card is like a cheerleader for take some time, like you got this, you can do it. Like Wands is fire and transformation. So like you can transform this, you can do this. And that can even be speaking to both what you want to do and whatever feels slightly out of balance. Sort of filling in for that. And again, just noticing. And I'd say with this card, there's something in the heart that's afraid. So giving some love to that as well is going to be really important over the next 6 months. Okay, so what do we need to know though? What do we need to know? What's the message that anyone that tunes in needs to know? Card just fell flat, face down on the floor. 6 of Cups. That's lovely. It's like a waterfall of lavender, flowing energy. So this pertains to knowing. Cups are emotional. And that has a much better feeling to it than the gray cups in the Temperance card. Although I would say Temperance speaks to neutrality, so there is some message of that. But what we need to know, I would say, relates more around joy and creativity. And there's just like honoring your innocence. And there might be a little bit of like nostalgia that's coming up. It's easy to make the past feel sweeter than maybe it was when you were in it, or when you were in it, then another moment felt sweeter, and just on and on and on. The mind is amazing how it can do that. But this card, I really feel that there's like a sweetness to it. So the question I asked was, what do we need to know? So know that there's sweetness. Even though I started out with this like intense card pull, I would say, look, this lavender also matches the lavender. And, 6 is a symmetrical, it's a really healthy theme in the tarot cards. So just know that there's creativity and joy to be accessed through whatever challenges you're going through. And that, if there's some some nostalgia for times past, people, places, things. It's okay to just it's okay to sit with the sweetness of that, right? Don't want to get too lost in it. Don't want to indulge too much, but when you just feel that little sting of sweetness for what was, I feel like it's as important to honor that as it is to honor, like when you have a memory of someone you've lost. And it's like that little bit of it almost feels like it stings you, but then it floods you with the sweetness. I shouldn't say you, for me, that's what happens for me. So just know that could be a part of the process also with the new moon on the past, might be memory shuffling, might be really reflecting and seeing what has come. And that's, necessary reflection for how you want to make those vital shifts, or what needs to change. Like, what do you want to blend together moving forward? That's what we need to know. What do you want? If you were concocting your own lavender waterfall, like this amazing healing concoction, like what out of those cups do you want poured into your experience now? So that's what to know. The next question I wanted to ask was, what do we do? Where do we take action? Did you hear that card just came right out? The Hierophant reversed. This deck's really special because normally it's the guy in the hood with the little starlight. This I love. It's got the key and the little sleeping. I think that's a fawn. This deck is so gentle. So there's also this message to remember to be gentle with yourself and others. And so as far as what to do, this card actually also relates to the heart. But in reverse, it's speaking to like a restless energy and whirling thoughts. So what we actually need to do is balance that. Soften the controlling grip, and this deck suggests you see yourself as that little sleeping deer. So there's this, when you think of taking action, it's normally a little bit more direct, but this is saying find a balance and get in the heart and let go of control. So where are you gripping? Where are you being rigid? Where are you trying to be over controlling to stay safe? And how can you loosen that and not be quite so controlling or trying to like force solutions, like when a key won't fit. So to get the key to unlock something, again, this whole balance theme's coming up around this new moon. Let's take some breaths into the heart and ask yourself, again, where can you let go? Sometimes we don't even realize how tight we're holding on and just need a reminder. So let this be your reminder to let go. And that card just fell to the floor while I was talking. I hadn't asked the next question, but like, Five of Swords, and that can be like where do you need to let go mentally? Because that is not pleasant. So wherever there's tension and hostility, wherever you have mixed feelings about your life or people, it's just like a reminder to let go of control. We can't control other people. We can't control what they do. All we can do is use our voice, be as clear as possible, pick our own battles. And that is more of an action. That's got the yellow with the solar plexus. But the main card was to soften the grip and lessen control but then that card fell out. So I feel like that's also like a clarity card around thoughts. Really being mindful of what thoughts are, where are your thoughts running out of control, or where are you trying to control things or not trusting, right? Because when you're trying to control, you're not trusting. And you're not feeling safe, really. So how do you feel safe? Like, how do you feel safe enough to be this little deer sleeping? Okay, so we're getting to the end here. I asked what to do, know, and feel, but I guess it's kind of silly to say how you should feel, right? Because you're going to feel however you feel. So that's just what intuitively came to me when I asked the question. So let's just see what comes out. Bernice is feeling like she needs to get up and shake off, switch positions. So might be you maybe like shake out your hands or do the same, take a little stretch if you're even still with this. For some reason, these little shredded yellow ribbons are look really satisfying to me. What do you need to cut up? That also makes me think of the phrase, cut it out, right? So when your thoughts are running away or things are just feeling overwhelming, just that, or if someone else is being a little bit insensitive, just that reminder of like, hey, cut it out, just cut it out. All right, so the feel is, I just fell on the floor, the Six of Wands. So that relates back to that Six of Cups, which was the emotional water flow. And now we have some sacral life force energy that's in a nice flow, some transformative energy. That card feels really good to me. Feels like a solid structure. That this is around the feel card, but maybe this is just like the feel, the overall, doing all this inner work. The overall feel for this eclipse is get the structure and the flow in place. The six, because look, we have these two fives here. So what to do? Had the five energy, and then we move on to the sixth. That orange feels like a warm fire on like a cold day, or if you're like have spent a lot of time near water and just need to dry out a little bit. But this is bringing the entire reading back to whatever that confidence was that we were missing, how to tie that back in to move forward and find progress. So that if you've spent all this time, what does your soul really want? And then you can get into this dharmic flow. This is the card of effortless effort. So all this other stuff in order to access that. The card is also encouraging it's encouraging finding that inner, not faking the confidence externally, not the, you could fake it till you make it. Some people that works for, that has never worked for me, but I don't, that's because I have like this total resistance to faking anything. But ultimately this card is just like glow from within, find that fire, find that glow from within, find that, like, set up the support structures so that can be happening. And then once that happens, it's like, you don't need to fake the confidence. It's just going to glow. It's just going to glow from within. And there's some real creative potential there. So that might even be something to meditate on, like what matters to you to this next stage where you want to find effortless effort. So not grinding, not hustling, not doing nothing, but like where you're doing what you love, what your soul came here to do, and then there's just a flow. And just what it says, effortless effort. I love that phrase. I remember I heard that phrase like a decade ago, and I remember it every now and again. So I'm going to end on that being the closing card, and that you reflect on all of this. And you could even meditate. You could even spend some time thinking about finding, like, what does effortless effort mean to you? Where would you like that to show up in your life? What structures need to be in your life in order for that to happen? Because that's the beauty of that card. And I know that's like a bit vague, but it's how you take it. It's how it applies to you. I hope something here was helpful for you and gives you something to chew on for the new moon coming up and the next 6 months coming up. And thanks for not only listening and tuning in, but tuning into yourself. Take care.